Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Philippine Statistics Authority would like to welcome you to the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey and 2023-2024 Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment National Data Dissemination Forum. Today we gather to witness another information drive led by the PSA in relation with our mission to provide our valued clients and stakeholders with reliable and relevant statistics focusing on the country's labor market structure, wage dynamics, and workplace practices. These activities also in line with the celebration of the National Statistics Month in this October 2025 with the theme Accelerating the SDGs Pace of Progress, Mobilizing Data for All. I am Jordan Arnaiz from the Philippine Statistics Authority, and it is my privilege to be your host this morning. We are also currently live on the Philippine Statistics Authority's official Facebook page, YouTube channel, and TikTok account with the official hashtag 2024 OWS NDDF. And to officially start our program, may I request everyone to please stand for the doxology and please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times you have offended you. Continue to guide and protect us, Lord. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with prayer and intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اللهم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. اللهم وحد صفوفنا بين المسلمين والنصارى والعماد إلى صراطك المستقيم. اللهم امنحهم العيش بالأمن والسلامة والتنمية المستدامة في مدينة دافاو. اللهم لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amoy na manama kami imot talang manotod kakarosan. Sikoy-ko kami doktor talang huwag nagtumpi tatana. Sikoy-ko kami pohoy kakumpianan talang ng mga otong. Usako kapusuno kanakong to pagulus ko'y. Pagbuy ko'y ko, huwag pohoy katpagul, kahalaan, kalinaw, tartanami. Nang pagbukpo, huwag kasabot ako'y oyot kalambot. Kahit kurang tamana kakonin panuban, huwag kong ampo, o pianan ito inyo, huwag kakoy tumino na huwag kahalaan kalambot.
Okay, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the work event this morning would not be possible without the presence of our PSA officials, distinguished guests, and participants. At this moment, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our PSA officials headed by Deputy National Statistician Gracia L. Gilprad. Good morning. Good morning. We also have Assistant National Statistician Adrian S. Cerezo. ANS Rachel Laksa. We also have Attorney Grace N. Manaay Badilla, Director of the National Wage Center. We would like also to acknowledge the presence of our regional directors. We have R.D. Pasiano Dizon. Good morning, sir. R.D. Sheila de Guzman. R.D. Nida Amular. We also have R.D. Wilma Pirante. Interim Regional Director John Campomanes. R.D. Newton Pamaran. We also have R.D. Akan Tula. Good morning, sir. Also, we have our participants from the different national government agencies. We have from DOLE. Our participants from DOLE. Good morning. From the Department of Economy, Planning and Development. We also have our participants from Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, from UP School of Economics, UP School of Labor and Industrial Relations. Also participants from Contact Center Association of the Philippines, International Labor Organization, European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, and also our participants or our responding establishment. Good morning. Good morning. And of course, baka makalimutan ko our PSA Central and Field Office personnel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So at this point, let's hear the recorded welcome remarks of our National Statistician and Civil Registrar General Under Secretary Claire Dennis S. Mapa.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. On behalf of the Philippine Statistics Authority, it is my great honor to welcome all of you to this National Data Dissemination Forum for the results of the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey and the 2023-2024 Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment. I extend my warmest greetings to our distinguished panelists from the National Wages and Productivity Commission, Occupational Safety and Health Center, and Bureau of Local Employment of the Department of Labor and Employment. To our partners and guests from the government, to our partners from the business and industry sectors, academic and research institutions, employer groups and associations, and the development community, including our partners from the International Labor Organization and the International Monetary Fund, thank you for joining us today. These two surveys, the Occupational Wages Survey and the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, are primary statistical activities under the System of Designated Statistics as reinforced by Executive Order Number 87 Series of 2025. Conducted every 2 years by the Philippine Statistics Authority, they serve as a vital instruments for understanding the country's labor market structure, wage dynamics, and workplace practices. The Occupational Wages Survey provides comprehensive statistics that support wage and salary administration, minimum wage setting, and collective bargaining negotiations. It captures wage differentials across occupations and industries, providing policymakers and employers alike with evidence-based measure of equity, productivity, and competitiveness. Meanwhile, the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment offers an integrated data set on key aspects of labor and employment, including employment of specific groups of workers, occupational shortages and surpluses, job-related trainings, occupational safety and health, and productivity improvement programs. Together, the Occupational Wages Survey and the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment provide extensive information on how industries are adapting to emerging labor trends and challenges in the world of work. The importance of this data cannot be overstated. They are essential to informing wage and compensation policies that promote fairness and protect workers' welfare, guide employment, education, and skills development programs that align with the needs of our industries, aid investors and enterprises in making informed decisions on labor cost management and human resource planning, and serve as a foundation for academic research, advocacy, and policy reform toward more inclusive and productive labor markets. These insights feed directly into our broader national goals under the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028, which places employment generation, human capital development, and income equality at the core of our development strategy. They also support the government's pursuit of decent work and economic growth, consistent with the Sustainable Development Goal number 8, and align with ongoing efforts to strengthen wage reform, labor market flexibility, and workplace productivity. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to our respondents from the business sector for their cooperation and continued trust in the Philippine Statistics Authority. Your participation ensures that our statistics truly reflect the realities of the Philippine labor market. To our Philippine Statistics Authority's field staff and statistical researcher, I commend your diligence and professionalism in collecting, processing, and analyzing this data. As we open today's forum, I would like to enjoin policymakers, employers, researchers, and advocates to be champions of data-driven action. Let us use these findings not merely as reference materials, but as tools to design more equitable wage systems, strengthen workplace safety, and build a more resilient and competitive Filipino workforce. Together, let us transform data into direction and statistics into solutions. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
Okay, thank you very much, Yusak Mapa. And now, we are about to learn more about Occupational Wages Survey and the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment. So without further ado, let us watch the audio-visual presentation on the 2024 OWS and 2023-2024 for an overview of this important survey. Let's all watch this.
The 2024 Occupational Wages Survey, or OWS, is a designated statistical activity under Executive Order Number 352 of 1996, requiring the generation of critical data to support decision-making by government and private sectors. With the updated list of designated statistical activities, the 2023-2024 Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, or ISLA, is now included under Executive Order Number 87 Series of 2025 together with the OWS. The OWS and ISLA are both national surveys simultaneously being conducted every 2 years by the Philippine Statistics Authority in formal establishments originally with 20 or more workers. But starting the 2024 survey round, both surveys covered establishments with 10 or more workers. The OWS and ISLA sampling frame came from the updated list of establishments as of January 2024 with 113,029 formal establishments in operation. Both OWS and ISLA share the sample size of 16,600 establishments. The surveys are reliable for generating statistics on major industry groups, employment size, and regional estimates. The OWS covered 693 industry-specific occupations, including 2 benchmark occupations, general office clerks, and elementary occupations. The OWS and ISLA covered 77 industry groups were covered except for Industry O, T, and U. The Occupational Wages Survey aims to generate wage statistics as critical inputs to policies on wage and salary administration and wage determination, particularly in wage fixing, price policies, and collective bargaining negotiations. The OWS results are valuable economic indicators and inputs to wage, income, productivity, price policies, wage fixing, and collective bargaining. It also measures wage differences across occupations and industries. determine inequality in typically low-wage and high-wage occupations, serve as reference for investment decisions and in periodic adjustments of minimum wages, inputs in compliance to Philippine Commitment to Special Data Dissemination Standard, SDDS, of the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The reference for the OWS is the payroll period as of the 31st August 2024, with time-rated workers on full-time basis were covered. The response rate for the 2024 OWS is 91.2%. The Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment generates integrated data set on the following: employment of specific groups of workers, unionism and collective bargaining, occupational shortages and surpluses, job-related trainings of workers, occupational safety and health practices, occupational injuries and diseases, productivity improvement program and gain-sharing practices. Inputs to policy and program formulation on employment, conditions of work and industrial relations. Inputs to SDG Goal 8 promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. SDG Indicator 8.8.1 inputs to study industry trends and practices and to assess the progress of decent work in the country. Alternate source of information of PDP 2023 to 2028 Chapter 4 percentage of total number of establishments, percent, provided with technical assistance that installed or enhanced productivity performance-based incentive schemes. Source of information of ILO Convention 160 and Labor Statistics Recommendation 170. ISLA reference period. The response rate for the 2023-2024 ISLA is 9.6%.
So, thank you po sa lahat and ingat po sa pag-ingat.
Bilateral meeting with DOLE as the major stakeholder for the two surveys. Stakeholders consultation meeting. Series of training sessions were conducted to equip field personnel with a solid understanding of key survey concepts, field operations, and manual processing of the questionnaires. The enumeration started by mid-September to end of December 2024. The paper and pen interview was used for the OWS ISLA. To ensure that data processing activities will be carried out smoothly, a series of trainings were also conducted for the PSA central office and field personnel and hired machine processors. As we officially release the highlights of the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey and the 2023-2024 Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, we reaffirm our commitment to providing timely, relevant, and reliable labor statistics that inform policy, support research, and promote decent and productive employment for all.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and
gentlemen.
So at this
moment, we come to the most awaited part of the program, the presentation of the 2024 OWS and 2023-2024
ISLE. So I believe everyone's excited to know about the result. And I'm sure that all of you have a lot of questions or clarifications as we go along. So kindly reserve all your questions as we will have an open forum later. So for your questions, please feel free to scan the QR code found in front of the program of activities given to you or QR code found at the back of your name tag or at your respective tables and save it for the open forum later. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Assistant National Statistician of the Social Sector Statistics Service, ANS Adrian Cerezo, to present the results of the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey.
Around the applause, please.
Thank you, Jordan. To Assistant Secretary Grace Librado, to Attorney Grace Badilla, our regional directors, to ANS Rachel, to our field personnel, to our stakeholders from the DOLE, the BSP, and of course our partners, our sample establishments who are represented here today. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. I love presenting to you the results of the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey. I will be highlighting the results of the following indicators: the average monthly wage rate of time-rated workers on full-time basis, the average monthly wage rate of benchmark occupations, the highest paid occupations from specific industries and occupations, and the gender wage gap. Before we begin, we're going to provide you the different terms used in the survey and how we operationalize the OWS using these. First, the wage rate. This is the sum of basic pay and regular or guaranteed cash allowances per unit of time. In our case, mostly we will be using the unit of time as month. Basic pay is the remuneration or the amount of money a worker receives regularly for their work. It includes pay for normal or regular working time before deductions for employees' social security contributions. For example, the SSS, GSIS, the PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and withholding taxes and others. Allowances, the supplementary payment or benefit provided to a worker in addition to their basic pay. It includes cost of living allowance and other guaranteed cash payments given regularly. And as you may have noted a while ago, the time-rated workers on full-time basis, what does this mean? For us, we operationalize this by defining it as the following: workers paid on the basis of a time unit work and who work at jobs with hours of work equal to or more than those considered as normal or regular to the establishment. So we now move to the average monthly wage rate of time-rated workers on full-time basis in all industries. In 2024, the average monthly wage rate of time-rated workers on a full-time basis in all industries is 21,544 pesos. Excuse me, 21,544 pesos. This figure came from the sum of average monthly basic pay of 20,309 plus the average monthly allowance of 1,235. Please take note that starting this latest round, the 2024 OWS, the average monthly basic pay and allowance were computed instead of the median values. And also, the amount is based on the weighted average. So, here are the top 5 industries with the highest average monthly basic pay in 2024 versus the information communications registered the highest with 40,931 per month.
This is followed by professional, scientific, and technical activities at 32,553, followed by electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply at 31,062, followed by financial and insurance activities at 29,921, and real estate activities at 23,974. In terms of the 5 industries with the highest average monthly allowance in 2024, establishments under
Electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply provided the highest allowances at 4,127 a month. I have the allowances. Next slide, please. May lag time yan tayo. So, where we go? while waiting for the presentation to correct itself, we hope that in the future where there's going to be an AI that's going to adjust based on the pace of the presentation. But okay. So as I was saying, in the previous definitions, we saw that the average monthly wage rate is composed of the basic pay and the allowances. For the allowances, highest industries who provide allowances for their workers starts with electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply at 4,127 pesos a month, and followed by professional, scientific, and technical activities at 3,543 per month. Next comes information and communications at 2,745. Then administrative and support services, service activities at 2,100, and arts, entertainment, and recreation at 1,851. In terms of the highest average monthly wage rates, combining these two together, we get information and communications at the top with 43,676, followed by professional, scientific, and technical activities at 36,096, then electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply for 5,188, followed by financial and insurance activities, 31,333, and administrative and support service activities at 25,227. On the other hand, these are the bottom 5 industries with the lowest average monthly wage rates in 2024. The lowest comes from the industry of agriculture, forestry, and fishing at 14,615. Then accommodation and food service activities at 15,256. Other service activities except activities of membership organizations at 15,730. Wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles at 17,200, and construction at 17,358. By region, the top 5 regions with the highest average monthly wage rate in 2024 comes from the National Capital Region, as expected, with an average of 29,310 a month. This is followed by Region 4A with 19,711. Region 7 comes next with 19,084. Then Region 3 at 18,274. And Region 11 with 17,953. On the flip side, these are the bottom 5 regions with the lowest average monthly wage rates in 2024. First, lowest is at the BARM with 11,495 per month, followed by Region 9 or the Zamboanga Peninsula, 12,220. Sargent, Region 12 comes next at 13,138. Region 8, Eastern Visayas, 13,467, and Region 5, Bicol Region at 13,751. Looking into the gender perspective, female workers in the country receive a higher average monthly wage rate of 22,236 for all occupations and industries compared to male workers with 21,009. So a while ago in the AVP, there was mention on the gender wage gap. So the gender wage gap is calculated by subtracting the average wage of female workers from the average wage of male workers and then dividing the difference by the male average wage. If we have a positive value, we say that the male workers are earning more, and if there's a negative value, then the female workers are earning more. So here is the gender wage gap for 2024 per region. In this slide, we could see that the country's gender wage gap is minus 5.8, signifying that female workers have higher average wage than the male workers on full-time basis. It is worth noting that out of the 17 regions, 11 regions posted a negative value, indicating that female workers have higher average wage than male. Let's keep in mind that this is under the formal mode of employment. So sa establishments po galing ito. Moving on to the average monthly wage rate of benchmark occupation in all industries. The benchmark occupations are what is termed as occupations that are widespread to all establishments and are usually at the near the bottom of the wage scale. These are the ones that are being monitored by the DOLE because it indicates how decent the wages are. So for 2024, OWS, 2 benchmark occupations is measured in all industries, namely the general office clerks, those who perform a range of clerical and administrative tasks according to established procedures, for example, recording, sorting, photocopying, checking and sending mails, and others. On the other hand, elementary occupations are jobs requiring simple routine tasks, often involving physical effort and basic tools, and typically need formal education or specialized skills like the cleaners, baggage handlers, kitchen helpers, refuse collectors, construction laborers, general farm laborers in the formal setting, and others. So the average monthly wage rate, again, let's keep in mind that these are the ones that are those who are near the bottom of the wage scale. So the average monthly wage rate for all industries of general office clerks is at 19,721 pesos. And the top 3 indicators that have the highest average monthly for these benchmark occupations come from electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply at 30,398, followed by information and communications at 25,649, and administrative and support service activities at 25,600. By region, the top 3 regions with the highest average monthly wage rates for general office clerks come from Region 7, the Central Visayas at 24,852, and followed by National Capital Region at 22,903, and then Central Luzon at 20,844. By gender, male general office clerks in the country receive higher average monthly wage rate of 20,132 compared to female general office clerks at 19,444. Moving on to the other benchmark occupation, the elementary occupation, the top 3 industries with the highest average monthly wage rates for elementary occupation 2024 also comes from the electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply, 22,259. Before that, for all industries, the average monthly wage rate stands at 13,502. After electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply with 22,259, information and communications sector comes next at 15,706, followed by water supply, sewerage, waste management, and remediation activities at 15,562. By region, full-time workers in NCR received the highest monthly average wage rates for elementary occupations at 15,991, followed by Region 4A at 14,318 pesos and Region 3 at 14,079. By gender, or by sex rather, males with elementary occupation in the country received a little higher average monthly wage rate at 13,554 compared to females with elementary occupations at 13,376. Our last section, the average monthly wage rate of time-rated workers in full-time basis in specific industries and occupations, or usually known as the top most type of occupations across industries. First, so among 693 industry-specific occupations, the following are the list of the top 10 highest paid occupations. First is aircraft pilots and related associated professionals with an average monthly wage of 137,999. This is followed by air traffic safety electronics technicians at 131,536. Chemical engineers comes next at 101,996. Followed by mathematicians and actuaries at 99,154. Applications programmers from the industry of insurance, reinsurance, and pension funding except compulsory social security comes next at 96,360 per month. Number 6 is web and multimedia developers at 79,064. Mostly come from the motion picture, video, television program production, sound recording, and public music publishing activities industry. Number 7 are application programmers at 73,804 per month, coming from the industry of information service activities. And again, mathematicians and actuaries in the industry of telecommunications at 71,237. Last two, software developers from the publishing activities is at number 9 with 66,180, and the 10th are industrial and production engineers from electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply with 65,806. That ends the presentation for the highlights of the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey.
Okay, thank you very much, ANS Cerezo. And now to present the results of the employment of specific group of workers and establishments profile, let us call on Ms. Maria Cristaline B. Bauyon, Statistical Specialist 2 of the Labor Demand Relations and Standard Statistics Division. A round of applause, please.
Good morning, everyone. Let me present the result of the module on employment of specific group of workers based on the result of the 2023-2024 Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment. For the overview of my presentation, this module presents data on employment of various specific group of workers and employment in different work arrangements. For the highlights of this survey, total employment in the formal establishments as of August 31, 2024 was recorded at 6.14 million workers from the estimated 96,409 establishments employing 10 or more workers in 2024. For the trend and to ensure the comparability with the previous years, the 2024 data excludes establishments with 10 to 19 workers. As you may notice in the graph, employment levels increased from 2018 to 2024, which shows a growth rate of 2.8% from 5.37 million in 2022. For the top industries with the highest employment, among the industry groups, administrative and support services activities had the highest number of employed persons with 1.38 million workers, or 22.5% share to the total employment. The manufacturing industry ranked second with 1.13 million, or 18.5%, while wholesale and retail trade follows with 125,642 workers, or 15.1%. Among the industry groups with the highest increase in employment, establishments employing 20 or more workers under the administrative support services activities ranked first with an increase of 144,000 workers, or equivalent to 68.5% from 2022. Other industries with highest increase includes private education with 68.14 thousand, or 25.3%, and wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles with 60.89 thousand, or 9.4% increase. Now for the top 3 regions with the highest employment, NCR topped on the list, posting a total of 2.45 million workers, followed by Region 4A Calabarzon with 1 million workers, and Region 7 Central Visayas with 568,625 workers. Now for the top 3 regions with the highest increase in employment, for establishments employing 20 or more workers, Region 4A recorded the highest with an increase of 320,000 workers, or a growth rate of 53.5%. Second is Region 5 or Bicol region with 28% increase, while BARM came in third with 14.4% increase. So now, in establishments employing 10 or more workers, paid employees comprised 99.1% of the total employment, or a total of 6.08 million in 2024. Majority, or 87.8% of the total paid employees, were rank and file workers, while managers and executives and supervisors or foremen comprised the remaining 5.1% and 7.1% respectively. Now looking into the growth rates of employment by type of paid employees, rank and file workers posted an increase of 152,000 in 2024 for establishments employing 20 or more workers. Meanwhile, the managers or executives posted an increase of 2.7%, while supervisors or foremen declined by 4.1%. Of the 5.34 million ranked and file workers, majority, or 79.1%, were regular workers, while the remaining 2.9% were non-regular workers. Who are these non-regular workers? They are the probationary workers with 10.2% of the total rank and file workers, the contractual project-based workers with 6.9%, the casual workers with 2.8%, and the seasonal and apprentices with the remaining 1%. Now we go to total employment by specific group of worker according to sex. In your left side of the screen, In 2024, around 57.2% or 3.51 million workers are male, while female workers accounts for 2.63 million or 42.8% of the total. Now, on your right, the total employment by specific group of worker in terms of age group. Of the 6.14 million employed, 42.6% or 2.62 million were young workers aged 15 to 30 years old. This was actually according to the Philippine definition of youth employment. While 1.2% or 70,700 workers are aged 60 to 65 years old or our elderly workers. For the workers paid the exact minimum wage, 1.18 million or 19.2% workers were paid the exact minimum wage rates fixed by the regional tripartite wages and productivity boards. Now we go to night shift workers or our workers who work that wholly or partly cover the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. window. There were about 622,675 or 10.1% registered night shift workers of the total employed in 2024. Now for the top industries with employed persons with disability. Based on the result of the survey, there are 14,355 or 0.2% are persons with disability or employed persons with disability. Among the industries, manufacturing employs the most number of persons with disability with 3,243 or 22.6% of the total employed PWDs. Next was on administrative and support service with 1,943 or 13.5%. And third is on wholesale and retail trade with 13.1% share of the total employed PWDs. Rather, just a correction, the second is 1,943 for the wholesale and retail trade, and the third is 1,883 for the administrative and support services. Now we go to workers under alternative work arrangements or AWA. The result of the survey shows that there were 229,795 or 3.7% of the total workers were under alternative work arrangements. The highest share with 37.5% or 86,112 is the work from home arrangements, followed by telecommuting with 30.3% and rotation of workers at 16.6%. The rest have percent shares that were less than 10%. These are skeleton workforce, reduction of workdays, and other alternative work arrangements. Still on alternative work arrangements, again to ensure the comparability with the previous years, the 2024 data again excludes establishments with 10 to 19 workers. As you can see, there is a steady decline of the share of workers under alternative work arrangements from the 10.9% in 2020 to 4.0% in 2024. Now we go to the top 3 services or processes outsourced or contracted out by establishments. In 2024, there were 676,317 agency hired workers engaged in different services or processes. The top services or processes outsourced in terms of the number of agency hired workers were, number 1, we have the janitorial and security services with around 243,000 or 35.9% of the total agency hired workers, followed by the production assembly with 29.6%, and third is the repair or maintenance and construction with 6.2%. Now we go to the second module under the 2023-2024 Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, which is about the establishment's profile. This module presents data on the extent of unionism and collective bargaining in establishments, the number and coverage of registered unions, and the scope of bargaining unit membership, existence, and the coverage of the CBAs. In 2024, survey results showed that among 96,409 establishments employing 10 or more workers, 2,914 establishments or 3% had registered unions. Meanwhile, 2,409 establishments or 2.55% were found to have existing collective bargaining agreements. Again, to ensure the comparability with the previous results, the 2024 data again excludes establishments with 10 to 19 workers. So the share of establishments with 20 or more workers generally have a downward trend from 6.3% in 2018 to 3.5% in 2024. Now, for the top industries with the highest number of unionized establishments in 2024, among major industry group, 970 establishments under financial and insurance activities had the highest number of establishments with unions recorded in 2024. This was followed by wholesale and retail trade or repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles with 24.5% and 20.5% of the total number of establishments for manufacturing. Now, for the top regions with the highest number of unionized establishments, among the 17 regions, National Capital Region recorded the highest number of unionized establishments with 998 establishments, and this was followed by Region 4A Calabarzon with 14.4% and Davao Region with 232 establishments or 8%. In 2024, now we go to the union density rate and the coverage rates for CBA. In 2024, the union density rate, which represents the proportion of union membership to total paid employees, was reported at 4.7%. Correspondingly, the CBA coverage rate, or the proportion of employees covered by CBAs to total employees or total paid employees, was 5% in the reference period. Again, for the trend, to ensure again the comparability with the previous years, the 2024 data excludes establishments with 10 to 19 workers. For the union density rate, the graph indicates a downward trend in union membership, while the CBA coverage rate also followed the same trend from 2018 to 2024. That's all for the results of the first two modules of the 2023-2024 ISLE. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Bauyon. Now let's move on to our third presenter. She will present the results on occupational shortages and surpluses and job-related trainings. Let us hear from Ms. Luz Biminda J. Samson, Senior Statistical Specialist of the Labor Demand Relations and Standard Statistics Division. A round of applause, please.
Hello and good morning to everyone. So today I will be presenting the results of modules 3 and 4 of the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment. So to start with the module 3, the occupational shortages and surpluses, the reference period for this module is September 1, 2023 to August 31, 2024. The results that I will be presenting for this module are number and characteristics of job vacancies in establishments, number of vacancies by major occupation group, and the status of employment. Those are regular and non-regular. Number of vacancies by category of vacancy, hard or easy to fill, and the reason why vacancies are hard to fill. And lastly, methods or ways on how the establishments acquire or hire job applicants. So for 2024, as mentioned earlier, there are 96,409 establishments employing 10 or more workers. 26.5% of these, or equivalent to 25,509, are establishments that have reported to have job vacancies during the 12-month period. For comparison, for the 2020, 2022, and 2024, establishments employing 20 or more workers, only 15,951 establishments employing 20 or more workers have job vacancies, and an increase of 22.6% in 2024. So for the top three, excuse me, for the top 3 industries with job vacancies, percent share to national total, the highest is in the wholesale and retail trade with 28.6%, followed by the accommodation and food services, and the third is the manufacturing industry. As per highest share to industry total, the highest is in the human health and social work activities. The second is the electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply. And the third is in the administrative and support services. As for the number of vacancies reported in 2024, there are a total of 455,593 vacancies across 18 industries. For comparison, again, there are 419,305 job vacancies reported in 2024 in establishments with 20 or more workers, a decrease of 9.7% in 2024. The top three industries, with the highest number of job vacancies reported is in the administrative and support service with a total of 185,267, or an equivalent of 40.7% of the 455,593 total job vacancies. A second is in the manufacturing sector or industry with 68,646, and lastly, the wholesale and retail trade repair of motor vehicle and motorcycles with 54,556. As for the employment size, large size establishments or those establishments employing 20 or more workers reported the highest share on the number of vacancies, representing a total of 270,651, or 59.4% in 2024. The second is those establishments employing 10 to 99 with 31.5% share, and the lowest is in the establishments employing 100 to 199 with 9.1% share. Next is the percentage of job vacancies by major occupation group. So the highest job vacancy share is in the clerical support workers with 27.4%, The second is the service and sales workers. And the third is the professional. Skilled agricultural, forestry, and fishery workers had the lowest number of vacancies with 0.2% or a total of 982 job vacancies. As for the proportion of regular and non-regular job vacancies by major occupation group, in 2024, the major occupation group with the highest proportion of non-regular job vacancies was plant and machine operators and assemblers with 56.1%. As for regular positions, the highest percentage are those in the managerial position with 93.2%, followed by the professionals with 88.9%, and technicians with 82.3%. As for the hard-to-fill and easy-to-fill job vacancies, the proportion for the hard-to-fill vacancies, the highest proportion was professional workers with 56.5%, followed closely by managers with 54.9%, and the third is the craft and related trades workers with 50.3%. Vacancies under the plant and machine operators was considered the highest easy-to-fill positions at 82.5%. Now, the distribution as to why the establishments, their vacancies were considered as hard to fill, the top reason why the vacancies are hard to fill is few applicants or no applicants applied for the job with a 41.2%. The second, applicants expects high salary. And the third is competency or skill needed for the job. The applicants lack the needed skills and competency for the job vacancy. As for the top 5 methods in filling up job vacancies in an establishment, employee referral is the top method in hiring or finding a suitable job applicant for the position at 76.3%. The second most popular method in hiring or acquiring job applicants for the vacant positions are walk-in applicants. Third is by word of mouth. Fourth, advertisements in social networking sites. And the last and the fifth, actually the fifth most popular method is posting in job portals. So the job portals that are quite popular in acquiring job applicants, number one is the Job Street with 60.4%. Second is PH Indeed with 38.0%. LinkedIn with 30.7%. And of course, sa mga taga-Dole, which is PhilJobNet with 11.5%, so special mention. MyNemo with 6.6%, Caliber with 2.6%, and other job portals with 2.7% share. And now we go to the Module 4, which is the job-related training of workers. The reference period for the job-related training of workers is calendar year 2023. Okay. The results that I will be presenting would be job-related trainings provided by establishments to their workers, training providers, type of training providers, annual training cost, and average training cost per worker. So in 2023, there are 27,572 establishments employing 10 or more workers that have provided job-related trainings to their employees. For comparative analysis, establishments with 20 or more workers in 2023 has increased by 36.0% or an equivalent of 15,674 establishments provided job-related trainings to workers in 2023. This represents a growth rate of 36.0% from 11,526 recorded in 2021. As for the top 3 industries with job-related trainings, by highest percent share to national total, the highest is in the wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles with 24.2%. Second is the accommodation and food service activities with 14.1%. Financial and insurance coming third with 12.5%. As for the highest percent share to the industry, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply gained the highest with 50.2%, followed by education, except public education with 47.5%. And the last is the financial and insurance with 40.7%. As for the training providers, the highest training providers are done in-house or in their own company with 55.4%. Second is the local private training institution with 40.5%. Third is government training institutions with 26.7%. And fourth is the foreign training institution with 3.8% and 1.8% for others. So the industries with the highest total training cost share, the total training cost for 2023 amounted to 3.7 billion. The highest is in the financial and insurance with share of 14.9 or an equivalent of 559 million. Training cost. Second is the administrative and support with 11.7 or 442 million. And last is the accommodation and food service with 9.4% or an equivalent of 355 million annual training cost. As for the average training cost incurred per type of worker, for managers, the average training cost is equivalent to 4,912 per worker. For supervisors and foremen, 3,721. And for rank and file, 1,873 pesos. Okay, that concludes my presentation this morning. Thank you and have a pleasant day to everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Samson. Now for our last presenter, she will present the results on the ISLE modules on occupational safety and health practices, occupational injuries and diseases, and productivity improvement programs and gain-sharing practices. Let's now hear from Ms. Christine S. Ariola, Officer in charge of the Labor Demand Relations and Standard Statistics Division. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, Jordan. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to our esteemed guests, Director Grace, E.D. Jomar, of course the PSA officials, and all of you who are here today to our dissemination forum. So I'll be presenting the last 3 modules of the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment. Of course, first we have the Module 5 on Occupational Safety and Health Practices with reference period at the calendar year 2023. For the overview of this survey, it is a rider module of the Occupational Safety and Health Center, which is an attached agency of the Department of Labor and Employment. This module will present the results on the following. First, we have the prevention and control measure activities, the occupational safety and health policies and programs, the occupational safety and health related trainings and seminars, and the types of designated safety and health personnel in the establishment. The first part is on the conduct of preventive and control measures and activities by establishment. In 2023, among establishments employing 10 or more workers, about 91.9% or 88,624 have conducted or practiced preventive and control measure activities against work safety and health hazard. Now let's have a comparison over the years for establishment 20 or more workers. Again, to ensure comparability with the previous year, the 2023 data exclude establishments with 10 to 19 workers. As you can see, the percentage of establishments with preventive and control measure activities is continuously declining from 2019, ranging from a 2.0 to 2.6 percentage points difference. In terms of the highest share of to the national total of industries that conducted preventive and control measures, wholesale and retail trade, repair of motorcycles and motor vehicles and motorcycle posted the highest share with 30.5%, followed by accommodation and food services and manufacturing. While in terms of the percent share to the industry total, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply had the highest percentage of establishments that conducted preventive and control measures with 96.7%. This was followed by human health and social work activities and construction industry. In terms of the lowest percentage of establishments that conducted preventive and control measures, to the national total, mining and quarrying and electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply had the list with 0.3%, followed by water supply, sewerage, waste management, and remediation activities, and third is information and communication. In terms of the lowest percent share to the industry total, agriculture, forestry, and fishing had the lowest percentage with 86.9% of the total establishment under this major industry group. And this was followed by information and communication and other service activities. Now for the top 3 preventive and control measures activities conducted. First, we have the designated safety and health officers and or first aiders with 75.7%, followed by posted safety signages or warnings with 58.3%, and organized safety and health committee with 54.2%. Okay. The next section of the module talks about the OSH policies and programs implemented by establishment. Among the total establishments employing 10 or more workers, 88.5% or equivalent to 85,339 establishments had implemented OSH policies and programs. Again, to ensure the comparability with previous years, the 2023 data exclude establishments with 10 to 19 workers. As we can see in 2023, 91.7% or an equivalent of 44,149 establishments with 20 or more workers had implemented OSH policies and programs. This has a minimal decrease of less than 1% percentage points from the 2021 round. This shows a steady decline from 2019 to 2023. Looking into the top 3 industries that implemented OSH policies and programs, in terms to the national total, the first was in wholesale and retail trade with 30.3%, followed by accommodation and food services and the manufacturing industry. By highest percent share to industry total, establishment under electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply had the highest with 96.9% and was followed by education except public education with 92.8% and human health and social work activities with 92.3%. In terms of the lowest percent share to the national total, mining and quarrying topped the list with 0.3%, followed by electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply with 0.4%, and then water supply, waste management, and remediation activities with 0.8%. In terms to the lowest percent share to the industry total, agriculture, forest, and fishing topped the list with 82.8, followed by arts, entertainment, and recreation, and real estate activities. Another part of the module is the designated safety and health personnel in the establishment. In 2023, a total of 72,959, or an equivalent of 75.7% of establishments with 10 or more workers have designated safety and health personnel. Now comparing the result, next slide please, comparing the results of the establishments with 20 or more workers over the years, the percentage slightly declined in 2023 with 2.7 percentage points from the 86.4 recorded in 2021. However, this figure is higher from the 2019 figure of 81.7%. Looking into the top industries with the highest percent share to the national total, those industries with designated safety and health personnel. First, we have the wholesale and retail trade with 28.9%, followed by accommodation and food services and the manufacturing. In terms of the highest percent share to industry total, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply topped the list with 93%, followed by human health and social work activities and construction industry. Now looking into the lowest percent share to the national total of those industries with designated safety and health personnel, we have the mining and quarrying with 0.3%, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply with 0.4%, and water supply, sewerage, waste management, and remediation activities with 0.8%. By lowest percent share to industry total, we have the agricultural, forestry, and fishing with 82.8% of establishments. Also, we have the arts, entertainment, and recreation, and real estate activity. Now we'll look into the designated safety and health officer by type of safety and health officer. Certified first aid trainer was the most commonly designated officer among establishment at 46.3%, followed by safety officer 1 at 37.9%, and safety officer 2 at 16.1%. The lowest share was for industrial hygienists with less than 1% or 0.6% of the total establishment. And then we have Part D, those OSH-related trainings or seminars availed by establishments employing 10 or more workers. In 2023, a total of 77,673 or equivalent to 80.6% of establishments employing 10 or more workers have availed OSH-related trainings or seminars in 2023. And then when we compare for those establishments with 20 or more workers, in 2023, 84.4% of the establishment have availed OSH-related trainings and seminar. This was a slight increase of 0.9 percentage points from the figure in 2021. And then for the top industries with the highest percent share to the national total that availed or conducted OSH-related trainings and seminar, we have the wholesale and retail trade at 30.7%, followed by accommodation and food services, and manufacturing industry. By highest percent share to the industry total, we have electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply at 91.1%, followed by private education at 85.2%, and the construction at 84.3%. Now looking into the lowest percent share to national total, we have the top three, the mining and quarrying, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning, and the water supply, sewerage, waste management, remediation activities. By lowest percent share to industry total, we have the agri, forestry, and fishing, the information and communication, and the professional, scientific, and technical activities. So we'll now look into the top 3 OSH-related trainings and seminar availed by establishment. So we have the fire safety training at 54.4%. Then we have the first aid training at 51.5%. And the top included in the top 3 is the emergency preparedness response at 33.1%. Lastly, in terms of the agencies that have conducted OSH-related trainings and seminar, Bureau of Fire Protection posted the highest with 57.9%, followed by those who conducted through their own company at 53.4%. And then the lowest was from the workers group at 0.8%. We now move to the Module 6 of the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, which is the occupational injuries and diseases. So it has a reference period of calendar year 2023. So the OID, or the Occupational Injuries and Diseases, is one of the regular module of the ISLE and the main source of statistics on occupational injuries diseases in the Philippines. So it follows the International Conference of Labor Statisticians, or the ICLS, and uses the World Health Organization's International Classification of Diseases standards to support actually the SDG 8.8 on safe and inclusive work. So the module, the objectives is for better management of safety and health in the workplace and formulation of effective policies and programs for the prevention of accidents. For this module, I'll be presenting the following data: the occupational accidents, the occupational injuries by incapacity of work, the measures of safety performance, and the occupational diseases and commuting accidents. So out of the total establishments in 2023, 4.8% or 4,654 establishments employing 10 or more workers experience occupational accident in their workplace. This means that roughly around 1 in every 20 establishments reported at least one occupational accident during the year. So when we define occupational accident, it is an unexpected or unplanned occurrence, including acts of violence arising out or in connection with work, so work-related, which results in one or more workers incurring a personal injury, disease, or death. In 2023, a total of 25,530 cases of occupational accidents were reported in workplace nationwide. So, looking into the trend to compare data, so we have those establishments, correction on the slide, it's employing 20 or more workers. In 2023, a total of 23,050 occupational accidents were recorded for establishments employing 20 or more workers. This figure represents a 17.4 decrease. So maganda naman kasi bumababa yung trend natin for occupational accidents. Then we measure also the occupational injury. So it is an injury which results from a work-related event or single instantaneous exposure in the work environment or the occupational accident. So in 2023, 30,653 cases of occupational injuries, establishments employing 10 or more workers were recorded. And then we exclude again for 2023 those establishment 10 to 19 workers. There were 27,642 occupational injuries in 2023, which result to a slight increase of 0.2% or less than 1% or higher by 6 cases only from the 2021 data. Okay. These are the top 3 industries with the highest occupational injuries. First, we have manufacturing with 40.7%. Second is the wholesale and retail trade and repair of motorcycles and vehicles with 16.6%. And then accommodation and food service activities with 8.8%. By outcome of occupational injuries, as we can see in the chart, majority of the reported cases, or 99.0%, were non-fatal cases. So only 1%, or around 318 cases, were fatal. Among the total reported cases, 36.1% resulted in workdays loss, while 63.9% involved injuries without workdays loss. Of the total 363 total injury cases, 34.4% led to temporary incapacity, while only 0.6% resulted to permanent incapacity. Now we go to the measurement of safety performance. First, we have the frequency rate. So when we mention about frequency rate, it measures how the occupational injuries with workdays loss occur, taking into account the total time of workers were exposed to the risk of accidents during the reference period. So as we can see in 2023, the frequency rate was 0.66, which means that there was about 1 case of occupational injury with lost workdays for every 1 million employee hours worked. Then we have the incidence rate, which measures the number of new cases of occupational injuries with workdays lost in relation to the total number of workers exposed to job risk during the reference period. So in 2023, the incidence rate was 1.80, meaning that there were about 2 cases of occupational injuries with lost workdays for every 1,000 workers. Then we have the severity rate that measures how serious the occupational injuries are by looking into the amount of time lost to these injuries in relation to the total hours actually worked. In 2023, the severity rate was 3.52, which means there were about 4 workdays lost due to temporary incapacity for every 1 million employee hours worked. And last of the safety performance measure, we have the average workdays lost, the number of workdays an injured employee is temporarily unavailable to work, providing an indication of seriousness of work-related injuries. So on an average, about 6 workdays were lost per case of occupational injury resulting to temporary incapacity in 2023. Now let us look at the occupations mostly injured. So we have first the plant and machine operators and assemblers with 33.1%, followed by elementary occupations with 24.9%, and the services and sales workers with 13.4%. So ano naman po yung mga top 3 type ng injury with most cases of occupational injuries? First, we have the open wounds with 42.6%. So these are just cuts, animal bites, laceration, puncture wounds. Second, we have the superficial injuries, yung mga blisters, bruises, abrasions at 12.6%. And third, we have dislocations, sprains, and strains at 12.1%. So what are the top 3 body parts injured? So we have the wrist and hand first at 39.1%, followed by lower extremities at 13%, and we have the shoulder and upper arms at 12.5%. What are the top 3 causes of injuries in 2023? So we have stepping on, striking against, or struck by objects at 28.9%, followed by caught by or in between objects at 26.1%, and falls of person at 12.6%. And then for the top three agent of injuries, we have machines and equipments with 25.9%, followed by hand tools, 25.4%, and materials and objects at 20.5%. We now go to the occupational disease. So it is defined as the abnormal condition or disorder caused by exposure over a period of time to risk factor associated with work activity. It refers to a new case recognized, diagnosed, and recorded during the year. So in 2023, there is a recorded of 76,052 cases of occupational diseases in establishments employing 10 or more workers. So the number reported cases of occupational diseases declined by 48.2 percentage points in 2023, marking a significant decrease compared to 2021. So what are the top three type of occupational diseases? We have back pain at 30.7%. Second, we have neck and shoulder pain. So marami sa inyo, tayo-tayo, ang nakaka-experience nito po, especially those working in the offices and those laborers working outside the field. So we have neck and shoulder pain at 11.6%, and those occupational dermatitis, 9.4%. So these are skin conditions due to exposure to chemical agents. So nai-irritate yung skin. So we have those as one of the top three. And then by major industry group, we have manufacturing accounted for the highest at 25.3%. We have wholesale and retail trade at 17.8%, and then the administrative support and support service activities at 13.0%. So we also have this question on commuting accidents. So what are commuting accidents? These are accidents which results to death or personal injury occurring in the habitual route of worker between the place of work or work-related trainings, the worker's principal or secondary residence, the place where the worker usually take his or her meals, and the place where he or she usually receive his or her remuneration. So in 2023, 4,607 cases were reported as commuting accidents by establishment. So in comparability, so the reported number of commuting accidents increased by 35.4% in 2023. So ganun kalaki po yung increase ng mga merong commuting accidents as reported by establishment. And for those commuting accidents, 4,833 workers were injured due to commuting accidents in 2023. So again, compare from the previous survey round, the reported number of cases of commuting accidents, increased by 28.5%. I think that's it for the module on occupational injuries and diseases. We now go to the last module on productivity improvement program and gain sharing practices with reference period as of calendar year 2023. So this is a rider module from the National Wages and Productivity Commission, so an attached agency under the DOLE again. I will be presenting the data on productivity and gain sharing scheme and the productivity linked wage system. So in 2023, a total of 23,079 establishment or 23.9 employing 10 or more workers had implemented various productivity improvement programs or PIPs in 2023. And then for establishments employing 20 or more workers in 2023, a total of 12,263 or 25.5% had implemented various PIPs. This was a decrease of 15.2 percentage points from the 40.7% reported in 2021. So shown on your screen are the top 3 industries that implemented PIPs by highest percent share to national total. We have the wholesale and retail trade, the accommodation and food services activities, and manufacturing. While in terms of the percent share to industry total, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply as top 1 with 42.1%, followed by financial and insurance activities, and human health and social work activities except public health activities. In terms of the lowest percent share to national total, we have mining and quarrying, the electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning supply, and water supply, sewerage, waste management, and remediation activities. By lowest percent share to industry total, we have the agriculture, forestry and fishing, the real estate activities, and the wholesale and retail trade, repair of motorcycles and motor vehicles and motorcycles. Okay. Among the establishments that implemented the various productivity improvement program, we could see on your screen that the highest was for client satisfaction measurement with 45.8%, followed by continuous process improvement, 7S of good housekeeping, the total quality management, and the suggestion feedback scheme. So for the program developers, management was identified as the lead program developer with 80.7% of establishments with PIPs. So other program developers include the supervisor, line leaders, the rank and file production workers, the labor management committee, and productivity consultant. Looking into the percent distribution of employees covered by PIPs, a total of 1.5 million employees that were covered by the different PIPs, 53.6 of which were male employees, while the remaining were female. By type of employees, majority or 85.1% were rank and file or production workers. Of the total establishments who implemented productivity improvement program, a small share or 5.6% had availed different tax incentives related to their PIPs, while 94.4% did not avail any tax incentives. So these are the tax incentives that can be availed related to productivity, like the Productivity Incentive Act of 1990, or the RA 6971, and then the Philippine Green Jobs Act of 2016, RA 10771, and other tax incentives including the PESA code and others. A total of 36,863 or 30.2% of the establishments have gained sharing schemes and practices in 2023. So these establishments provided incentives or bonuses for improved performance of their employees. Of the establishments with gain sharing schemes and practices in 2023, most or 79.1% were implemented by non-unionized work in a non-unionized workplace setting, while 20.9 were implemented in a unionized setting. Then segregated by sex and type of employee. So we have 55.1% of the total 2.05 million employees who benefited from the gain sharing schemes and practices. 55.1 were male, while 44.9 were female workers. And then by type of employee, so 85.4 were rank and file and production workers, while the remaining were supervisors and managerials and executive. So these are the top 3 usual form of non-cash incentives provided to employees by establishments. We have grocery items at 49.5%, gift certificate with 35.9%, and some provided subsidized travel or leisure at 5.4%. We also asked about the top 3 challenges encountered by establishments in implementing their productivity-based incentive scheme. So the highest mentioned was high cost of implementation at 38.3%, the lack of knowledge of the system with 28.2%, and the lack of support from management at 17.1%. So we also identified the top 3 motivation by establishment to adopt or continue adopting the PIBS. We have first the increase in profit and sharing with profit and savings with 30.3%, improvement in workers' productivity with 26.1%, and financial assistance from government agencies at 16.8%. Also, we asked the establishments of the top 3 technical assistance needed in the development of their PIBS. First, we have the determining performance target at 22.3%, the identification of appropriate incentive scheme at 17.2%, and the identification of key performance indicator at 14.8%. So thank you very much for listening. That concludes the presentation on the ISLE module.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ariola. Now that the results have been presented, we are pleased to welcome our invited discussants from the National Wages and Productivity Commission, Occupational Safety and Health Center, and Bureau of Local Employment to share their views and insights on the policy and program implications of the 2024 OWS and 2023-2024 ISLE. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present to you our first discussant. She is the Director of the Policy and Research Services Department of the National Wages and Productivity Commission. The NWPC is an attached agency of the Department of Labor and Employment, serves as the key policy-making body on wages, incomes, and productivity. Her team is responsible for the review and policy formulation on wages, incomes, and productivity. They provide technical assistance to the regional tripartite wages and productivity boards to ensure a data-driven and evidence-based minimum wage determination process. Their team likewise prepares technical notes and other policy papers, providing evidence-based inputs on wage and productivity matters in line with the NWPC's role as a consultative and advisory body to the President and Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, our first discussant, Attorney Grace N. Manaay Badilla. A round of applause, please.
To Deputy National Statistician Divina Gracia Delgado, ANS Adrian Ceresa, and ANS Rachel Laksa, Executive Director Jomar Batino, to colleagues in the government service, to all the guests and all present here, good morning. On behalf of the National Wages and Productivity Commission, I would like to thank the Philippine Statistics Authority for inviting us to take part in this very important national data dissemination forum. The Occupational Wages Survey, or the OWS, and the Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, or the ISLE, are more than just collaborative statistical surveys between the PSA and the NWPC. They are strategic policy tools that give us a clear picture of the country's labor market dynamics, our wage structures, and of course, the enterprise productivity practices, as we heard a while ago. For this fifth round of the ISLE productivity module, the NWPC is banking on a crucial insight. Isang napaka-importanting insight po, na ang pagpapataas ng produktibidad at ang pagbibigay ng makatarungan at wastong pasahod para sa gawaing may katumbas na halaga or for work of equivalent value ay dapat magkasabay na isinusulong. Linking wages and productivity is not merely an economic concept, much more an abstract concept. It is an essential formula for building a sustainable and inclusive labor market. So, ang NWPC po ay mayroong dalawang mandato nagmumula sa dalawa ring batas. Ito po ang Republic Act number 6727 or the Wage Rationalization Act for minimum wage determination and the promotion of productivity. And the Republic Act number 6971 or the Productivity Incentives Act of 1990. This law was enacted to encourage enterprises to adopt productivity improvement programs and gain sharing schemes. That's why you heard a while ago that it is one of the bases for requesting from enterprises of incentives from the government. As you also heard, NWPC is a key policy making body on wages, incomes, and productivity. So we provide technical assistance to the 16 regional tripartite wages and productivity boards. Ngayon ay 17 na because of the creation of the new region. This is to ensure a data-driven and evidence-based minimum wage determination process. And kung naririnig niyo po kami sa news, lagi po kami nasa social media din because we likewise provide technical advisory to the President and Congress. So we prepare technical notes, policy papers, and we ensure that what we provide is evidence-based inputs on wage and productivity matters. Thus, the OWS and ISLE are not just statistical exercises. They are essential basis for policy instruments that shape how we understand wages, productivity, and employment trends in our country. So for the data utilization, the NWPC maximizes the data generated by the OWS and ISLE to enhance or further improve the delivery of our core services. So we have three. Number one, for research and policy, these surveys provide critical empirical data, ensuring that decisions are evidence-based and aligned with the labor market. For our training and consulting, the data guides the design and targeting of training programs for the micro, small, and medium enterprises, for our RTWPBs and other stakeholders, ensuring that our interventions are responsive to actual productivity gaps and enterprise needs. For information and publication, the survey results are likewise translated into accessible, bite-sized information products, publications, and knowledge materials for use by our policymakers, employers, workers, and even researchers. Specifically for the occupational wages survey, the data provide an empirical reference for wage differentials across occupations and industries. It gives essential insights, particularly to our RTWPBs, on current market wage levels, which supports, of course, their minimum wage determination function. As a policy tool, the OWS also serves as a benchmark for wages in collective bargaining, helps identify priority industries and occupations, and acts as a key labor market information for formulating decent work strategies, among other uses. For the ISLE, where our module on productivity improvement programs and gain sharing practices or the PIPGP is included, ito naman po ay nagbibigay ng napakahalagang impormasyon kung paano ipinututupad ng mga negosyo ang mga inisyatiba sa produktibidad at kung paano nila ibinabahagi sa mga manggagawa ang mga benepisyong bunga nito. For this survey round, the coverage was expanded to establishments with 10 or more workers compared to 20 or more in previous rounds, which is more beneficial for us. No? Thus, increasing the number of surveyed establishments to almost triple. Now, as you see a while ago, it's already 96,409 establishments. So this survey round also include unionization and CBA-based data cuts, enabling deeper analysis of the wage productivity link and institutional mechanisms supporting productivity growth. The data serves as a critical input in evaluating the effectiveness of policies that promote productivity and shared prosperity, consistent with the provisions of one of the law that gives us the mandate, the Productivity Incentives Act, It also provides baseline information on which industries and firm sizes adopt productivity schemes, the types of gain-sharing arrangements in place, and the extent of these practices across sectors. So for the 2023-2024 ISLE PIPGP results, it confirms that enterprises still value productivity as a core competitiveness strategy. But as we've seen, the practice remains managerial. Most are initiated by the managerial, efficiency-centered, and unevenly spread across the regions. Over the years, emerging trends from the ISLE PIPGP results help us identify areas for policy refinement and recalibrate our productivity strategies for 2026 and beyond. So for the recommendations and some ways forward, the NWPC proposes to continue leveraging ISLE and OWS data for targeted interventions, particularly to support our micro, small, and medium enterprises in adopting productivity programs and productivity-linked wage systems. Strengthen interagency collaboration among PSA, DOLE, NWPC, and industry partners to ensure that data informs real policy shifts. Build regional analytical capacity so that local wage and productivity strategies are firmly grounded in evidence. Thank you to the Philippine Statistics Authority for our continued partnership, and once again, a pleasant day to everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Grace Manaay Badilla. Let me now introduce our second discussant to give us insights on the results of the occupational safety and health practices and occupational injuries and diseases. Graduated from the University of the Philippines with a degree in civil engineering. He completed his master's in business administration and academic units of the Doctor of Public Health program from the same institution. He is currently the Executive Director of the Occupational Safety and Health Center. Prior to his appointment, he served as OIC Executive Director of the Occupational Safety and Health Center from October 4, 2023 to February 18, 2024, and as OIC Executive Director of the Employees Compensation Commission from September 2022 to August 2023. In 2013, he served as Deputy Executive Director of the OSHC DOLE, and also he held the position of OIC Deputy Executive Director of the OSHC DOLE from 2010 to 2013, before his appointment as Deputy Executive Director. He held various roles as Chief of the Safety Control Division at OSHC in 2000 to 2010, Chief of the Labor Standards Research Division at the Bureau of Working Conditions, DOLE, in 1995 to 2000, and Labor and Employment Officer at the Bureau of Working Conditions, DOLE, in 1989 to 1995. He achieved the 4th level rank for Career Executive Service Officer from the Career Executive Service Board. His core expertise is on policies and programs related to workplace safety and health, specifically RA 11058, or the Occupational Safety and Health Law. He also contributed to the revisions of the Occupational Safety and Health Standards. Additionally, he actively collaborates with international organizations like ILO, WHO, COSHA, ISSA, and ASEAN OSHNET to further promote and upgrade programs on occupational safety and health. Ladies and gentlemen, our second discussant, Executive Director Jose Maria S. Batino. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very long introduction. Maraming salamat. It was just short of saying how many years I've done in government. I've done 36 years in government service. So, in a sense, that also reveals my age. Anyway, first of all, I'm a licensed civil engineer. I also delve in numbers, but it's not the kind of love that statisticians would have for numbers, right? But anyway, I would like to thank first the PSA, the officers of the PSA, for our partnership. I think it was on our own initiative that we wanted to have practices as part of your surveys, because we would want to complement the results of labor inspection. So that was the idea, to be able to complement the results of the enforcement program DOLE, because there are times in a budget hearing the DOLE is asked of certain congressmen or congresswomen, what is safety net with respect to my constituents. But if DOLE would just rely on the inspection results, it may not be reflective of what's really going on the ground with respect to certain areas, certain regions, and of course certain industries. Now, what the numbers that have been generated based on survey are really reliable. We've tested that because one time we did a deep dive on the numbers that we presented. There was a big accident which happened in one of the construction projects in Makati City. I don't know if you still remember 2011. There was a gondola which went down in one of the projects in Makati, and it led to the death of 10 individuals, 10 workers. There were actually 11. It was a gondola which was by and large overloaded. When it plummeted from the 33rd floor to the 6th or 7th floor, pagdating sa 6th or 7th floor, nabigay isang katawan, nakatenga. 10 instantly died. One was able to survive. But really, it was a case of miracle. Of the 10 victims who died, one was even a minor, 17 years old. So what was a minor doing in that project when you can only have 18 years old or over when it comes to hazardous work? So at the time, when that accident happened, it was in 2011, the cycles of survey, the 3 prior cycles of survey were showing a declining trend when it comes to occupational accidents and injuries. So we were surprised. How come a big accident such as this could happen on a situation whereby there has been a declining trend when it comes to occupational accidents and injuries? So what we did was we went back to the numbers which construction was generating in the cycles of surveys. And what did we find out? We found out that in the first cycle, construction contributed 3% when it comes to occupational injuries. In the next cycle, it contributed 5%. And in the next cycle, it contributed 8%. So what was happening? While the other industries were going down, for construction, it was the other way around. It was incrementally increasing. So when we found that out, we were telling ourselves, hindi na pala tayo dapat magtaka. It was an accident waiting to happen. So that's how reliable the data were. So what needs to be done is really to deep dive on the data. I mean, what has been presented to us were summaries. So kami, on the part of the Occupational Safety Center, we need to know the increases and the decreases, where it happened and how it happened. Then another thing, the data can actually be validated in terms of other parameters, like when that gondola accident happened, 2 months after it happened, the DOLE National Capital Region, DOLE NCR, did a rapid assessment of the compliance of construction projects when it comes to occupational safety and regulations. So DOLE NCR inspected 174 projects in the National Capital Region, a combination or random selection of big projects, small projects, medium-sized projects, and big projects. Of the 174 projects they inspected, okay, only 2 had no violation. So meaning when it happened, when that accident happened in January 2011, more than 99% of the construction projects in the National Capital Region were not complying with safety and regulations. So for DOLE, there was not even a need to replicate the rapid assessment in other regions, because what could be happening in NCR could be one and the same in the other regions as well. So that tells you of the link between what the statistics have gathered as to the actual performance when it comes to safety amongst construction projects. Okay, then I understand this is also the first time that we have included 10 to 19. Okay, because in the past it was just 20 up, and the graphs that were presented as to comparability were showing a decrease in some respects. I mean, in some areas. So for us, okay, our partnership, which came a long way since 2008, we will continue this because we feel that we need the data, particularly when it comes to our mandate of promoting prevention. Kasi while it has been mentioned, we are an attached agency of DOLE. We're that side of DOLE. In fact, we're that side of the government, which works aggressively on promoting prevention of accidents, injuries, illnesses, and even deaths from happening in workplaces. I guess in the scheme of things, government can only advocate prevention, right? There is no way that government will do actual prevention. In fact, if you rely on government to do actual prevention, then prevention may not happen at all. So government enters the scene quite aggressively, and that is to enforce the regulation. So napakahalaga, no, itong mga numero na to, itong results ng survey na to, for us to promote prevention. In fact, you've made our life easy. You know why? Because every time people, institutions come to us for data, andali, sabihin lang natin, go to Israel, it's not simple, ano? Kasi nga, instead of cracking our heads, looking for data, then, ito, nandito na kaagad, ano? And we tell companies, okay, to use the data. Like, for example, it was, I think part of the presentation earlier was frequency and severity rates. Okay, we tell companies, because they actually compute, the safety officers actually compute the frequency and severity rates. So, we tell them, you can use it two ways. Either you compare it to previous years, okay, to determine your safety performance this year and previous years, or you will know by computing your frequency and severity rates where you are in terms of the industry. Are you better off when it comes to safety and health as compared to the industry? Kung mas mababa ang frequency and severity rates mo than the industry, then you're better off than the industry. But if you're higher than the industry, then Houston, you got a problem, right? So that's how we do it. Then we also feel that the way you are presenting it also gives us the challenge of finding the logic somewhere. Like, for example, it was presented that the Bureau of Fire is the #1 provider of safety and health training. And the fire safety training is the #1 safety and health training. Not even the Bosch, not even, okay, sir. So we try to find logic here, no? Okay. And we found one, okay? If you go by the statistics of the Bureau of Fire, of 10 companies which were gutted down by fire, 6 are able to survive after the fire. So that gives you 60%, right? But of the 6 companies who were able to survive the fire, 3 of them would fall down after 2 to 3 years. You know why? Because they couldn't recover what they lost in the fire. So technically, you only have 33% of companies surviving the fire. So that gives you the logic why fire safety training, why the Bureau of Fire is the most prominent safety and health provider. Okay, so yun yung yun yung result. Then another interesting thing presented that I think we need to improve on is the emergency preparedness training. Okay, because what we're experiencing now calls for a heightened approach when it comes to preparedness. Okay, di ba? Kasi nga, I mean, if you go by news articles, you'll probably realize since September 30, earthquakes have been happening until yesterday. Ngayon ba meron na? Wala pa naman. Huwag na natin antayin. So that gives us the idea, if only 30+% of companies surveyed have emergency preparedness training, then, I mean, what happens if the big one, if we experience a big one? So I think we need to look into this, and I'm sure our stakeholders and partners would be able to capture many of the numbers which were presented for them to revisit their programs and do a different slant on how to come up with more responsive programs. Then part of the presentation also was that uh, there is a set of workers, okay? The plant operators, tama ba ma'am, plant operators, and those doing elementary jobs, ano? These are the set of workers which are more involved in these ATIC or more serious accidents. And every cycle of survey, it's always that way. We have not really changed the narrative, right? It's always that way. And we always tell safety officers and safety managers that they may need to do a different slant on the way they promote or communicate safety. Given this set of workers, the plant operators, those doing elementary jobs, because if you hear any safety manager or safety officer communicating safety for this set of workers, it's always a language of regulations. Sasabihin nila, yan kasi ang regulasyon ng DOLE, may penalties, merong imposition of fines if we do not comply. Or it could be a language of programs. Yun ang sasabihin nila, yan kasi ang gusto ng headquarters natin, yun gusto kasi ng GENCO natin, so dapat implement natin. So sabi namin, given such that we haven't changed the story na ito pa ring set na to ng workers ang na-aksidente, again, why don't we start communicating occupational safety using the language of the value of life? Diba? If you ask any worker, bakit ka nagtratrabaho? Sasabihin niya, siyempre sir, ma'am, ako ang breadwinner, kailangan ko magtrabaho. Second question, bakit mahalaga sa'yo ang kaligtasan at kalusugan mo? Siyempre sir, kung ako maaksidente o ako magkakasakit o paano yung pamilya ko. So yun sinasabi namin di ba? So napakahalaga talaga ng mga numerong na-generate nitong survey na to. And it also justifies in a sense the recent DOLE approach, because part of the presentation earlier on the modules on the occupational safety practices, what are the violations of first aider, safety officer, first aider? In any labor inspection, whenever a labor inspector conducts an inspection, it's always that way. Two violations, mag-asawa nga violation tawag namin dito, walang safety officer, walang first aider. So what DOLE did, okay, because the surveys and of course the enforcement efforts of DOLE are showing the same thing, na yun yung prominent na mga violations. So for this year, okay, the DOLE Secretary issued DOLE Department Order number 252 series of 2025, which is the revised implementing rules and regulations of the Occupational Safety and Health Law, which now requires micro-enterprises, those employing 1 to 9 workers, okay, and are low to medium risk, hindi na sila required to have a certified first aider and a safety officer 1. They're just required to attend a safety and health orientation of 4 hours, a first aid orientation of 4 hours, which would mean it would affect the next cycle of survey. Diba? Because the games are changing, the regulations are changing, so we look forward to what the next cycle of survey would generate given or vis-a-vis the new set of regulations. Then I'm also, not that I'm glad, but the occupational diseases now show wala na COVID, as the prominent occupational illnesses, because I think the prior cycle to this, the previous cycle, showed COVID-19 with 60%, then ergonomic issues, low back pain, neck pain, second and third. Now, we're back to ergonomic issues. So, ngayon, it's a simple safety net concern, ergonomics, which can be addressed by simple and practical measures. But how come? How come? Okay, it's number 1 and 2. So that's another thing that establishment should be considering, because elsewhere you go, regardless of the industry, you would have economic issues. Diba? Katulad nyo, you've been sitting for more than 2 hours, diba? Diba? Long sitting na yan, diba? Long sitting na yan. So, elsewhere you go, we would have economic issues. So, napakahalaga, ng mga numero na yon. Then, okay, commuting accidents, it's a good thing. We now have commuting accidents. I think for in the last cycle, we also had that. Kasi it's important, not because it's compensable, I mean, the idea of compensation tells you that if you get to be involved in an accident, going to work, coming back to your own place, then it can be compensable. Okay, but I guess we need to focus on commuting accidents as well. I mean, for companies to look into of the job safety, and that would include commuting accidents. You know why? Last time I attended, I think more than a year ago, when Secretary Ted Herbosa was still in the UP system, okay, in the National Institute of Health, sa UP Manila. They called on a meeting of stakeholders. I was then the officer in charge of the Employees Compensation Commission, and the meeting purposely was to get a sense of how stakeholders would feel as to the creation of a Road Accident and Injury Prevention Institute within the UP system. Okay, and part of the presentation during that time was that commuting accidents would account for 4% of our loss as to losses. It would account for 4% of the gross domestic product. So napakalaki rin ng losses natin when it comes to economic losses natin when it comes to commuting accidents. So maganda, no? It's important that we now focus as well so sa sinasabi namin of the job safety, inclusive of commuting accidents. So ito yung ito na yung presentation na yung kanina intro anyway, this is how the modules module 5, which was presented earlier, it has been mentioned by our presenter as the prevention and control measures and activities, designated health and safety personnel, occupational safety and health policies and program, safety and health related training. And I think OIT has been done by PSA for the longest time. So we thank PSA. Kasi it's a valuable information not only for us, but even for our partners and of course for the private companies. And you were telling, the presenter was telling earlier, there was a significant drop when it comes to occupational diseases. So we want to know how it happened, what are the good practices, because we may need to promote, okay, in more aggressive manner, the occupational health part, because we always say in the occupational safety and center, we need to balance the equation, because not only national but even global statistics are telling us there are more people dying because of occupational illnesses as compared to occupational accidents and injuries. In fact, ILO estimates would tell you of 7,500 people dying every day because of unsafe and unhealthy conditions. Of that 7,500, 6,500 are dying because of occupational diseases, and only 1,000 are dying because of occupational accidents. So those numbers alone are telling us we need to balance the equation. So, but if you visit companies and analyze the program, to realize there's so much efforts to prevent accidents and injuries on a daily basis. That's good. Those are model practices. But again, the question is this: do they monitor exposures? Diba? That's a problem. Diba? They hell bent on preventing accidents and injuries, but they lack the initiative, or they lack even the consistency to look into exposures which may redound to occupational illnesses. Just classic example on this. I mean, how many of you are familiar with welding? Okay, you're familiar with welding. What are the basic hazards of welding? You have sparks, right? You have inhalation of toxic fumes. You have heat radiation, right? So as far as you know, what are the personal protective equipment worn or worn by welders? You have face shield, goggles with goggles inside. You have mask, okay, but you have coveralls, long sleeves, nakabuang passion, naka-safety shoes, naka-hard hat. So obviously, the heat radiation and the sparks are being addressed, right? But again, the question is this: what is there to address fumes? Is there anything that the welder dons or wears which addresses fumes? Meron ba? Naka-gas mask ba yung welder? How can a welder wear gas mask? Naka-face shield yan. Diba? So there's no gas mask. I mean, you can find welders wearing that dust mask, diba? I mean, the one that the attorney is wearing. Or you can find welders with tuwalya, diba? Or panyo. But again, this will never filter out the toxic fumes. Ngayon, All of us, we have a breathing zone of 6 inches away from the nose. Every time that we inhale, we have to inhale 6 inches away from the nose, right? So meaning, in the case of welders, diba, that would mean, 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week of exposure to toxic fumes in the absence of protection. Diba? So we tell companies with welding operations, you need to ventilate. You need to ensure you are able to move the fumes away from the breathing zone. Because if you're not able to do that, one morning a welder would wake up with a liver or kidney problems. Because those are the aftermath of exposure to toxic fumes. With the liver or kidney problems, pag sinabi niya sa may-ari o sa contractor, ang sasabihin lagi ng contractor, yan ang napala mo sa kakainom. It contributed, yeah, it's still a lifestyle issue. But actually, yun ang napala niya because for the longest time, he or she was never protected. So again, the surveys, the numbers are telling us we need to focus on both. Hindi lang occupational safety, but occupational health as well. So, sa ngalan po ng Occupational Safety and Health Center, kami po ay nagpapasalamat sa PSA sa napakahalagang contribution para kahit papaano makapag-programa kami, para kahit papaano makapagbigay kami ng responsabling advice sa mga kumpanya kung paano sa araw-araw maging mas ligtas at malusog ang kanilang manggagawa. Yun ang magandang umaga sa inyo.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Batino. Our last discussant will be joining us online. She is a Labor and Employment Officer 2 at the Labor Market Information Division of the Bureau of Local Employment, where she contributes to the development and implementation of key national labor market information programs. Prior to joining the Bureau, she served as an assistant statistician at the Public Employment Service Office, gaining significant experience with local market data. She leveraged this data to guide key employment initiatives and establish data-driven partnership between academic institutions and private sector employers. She holds a master's degree in management from the Philippine Christian University and a bachelor's degree in economics from Cavite State University. Ladies and gentlemen, to give us policy implications on the results of the module on employment and occupational shortages and surpluses, let's give a round of applause to Ms. Princess Mary Angkaya.
Good morning po. Over the years, the Philippines labor market has shown major improvements. While we recognize this achievement, our focus remains on ensuring inclusive and quality employment for all. The timely and comprehensive data from Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment, or ISLE, and the Occupational Wages Survey, OWS, are important in guiding the policy formulation and program development. To ensure previous slides. Thank you. To ensure the future workforce is equipped with necessary skills that will match the industry's needs, the Department of Labor and Employment, through the Bureau of Local Employment, is keen on providing key stakeholders such as academia, students, parents, job seekers, employers, and industry organizations with timely, reliable, and accurate labor market information. Next slide. The LMI IEC materials, such as the Jobs and Labor Market Forecast, regularly published by DOLE, featured key results from national survey conducted by the Philippine Statistics Authority. For this round of August 2023-2024 with an August 2024 reference period for employment data, the Bureau notes the following key results. First, establishment with 10 or more workers engaged, a total of 6.4 million persons. Of this number, 2.63 million are female workers, accounting for approximately 42.8% of total employment. The majority of female paid employees are classified as rank and file workers, which is 85.30%. In terms, in terms of each group, young workers aged 15 to 30 years old total 2.62 million, accounting for about 42.6% of total employment. The ISLA data provides valuable insights into the employment of vulnerable sectors, such as persons with disability, which supports the department's goal of promoting equal employment opportunities and designing empowering programs. Next. The survey highlights services sectors as key employment growth sectors, which reported the highest number of establishments with job vacancies from September 2023 to August 2024. A significant portion of job vacancies are for entry-level positions, underscoring the demand for young talent and the need of effective school-to-work transition programs. More than half of the vacancies are for regular position, indicating stable job opportunities are available for qualified applicants. Almost 3 out of every 10 positions are classified as hard to fill, which is an important indicator for career guidance and curriculum review by the education and training sectors. In addition to these findings from the IFLE, the Bureau also draws insights from our administrative data captured through PhilJobNet and the PESO Employment Information System. These data sets provide a real-time view of employment facilitation trends. 1.93 million jobs of applicants were recorded nationwide, showing active job search across all regions. Over 2.37 million job vacancies were posted this year, indicating continued labor demand across growth industries. Calabarzon and Central Luzon recorded the highest number of both applicants and vacancies, showing dynamic labor market outside Metro Manila. NCR remains a major employment hub with nearly 965,000 vacancies, but regional dispersal of job opportunities continues to expand. The IT BPM, manufacturing, and logistics sectors dominate online job posting, while healthcare and education are emerging source of demand. Last, regional imbalances are evident, with some areas having more applicants than vacancies and vice versa, underscoring the need of targeted upskilling and local employment programs. Next slide po. The majority of the applicants were sourced out as walk-in applicants, emphasizing the enduring importance of Public Employment Service Office in the employment facilitation. A high number of hired applicants applied through online job portals such as PhilJobNet, reflecting the success of the department's digital platforms in bringing employers and job seekers. Of all employees, 4.22 million are classified as regular workers, while 1.12 million are non-regular workers. Additionally, 676,317 are employed through agencies, highlighting the need for vigilance of workers' rights and security of tenure. The survey also captures trends in clearance practices, showing that many establishments, particularly those with 20 or more workers, resort to subcontracting for various services, with jobs such as finance or recruitment and transport service frequently being outsourced. These insights guide our next steps as we align policy with emerging labor market. The ISLE findings are important. They will be integrated into the labor and employment plan and serve as the input for the Trabaho para sa Bayan plan, ensuring Looking ahead, the Bureau is committed to adapt the ISLE to monitor emerging labor market priorities, specifically focusing on skills for digital work, green jobs, and AI-related professions to ensure the Filipino workforce remains competitive and resilient. We also would like to give emphasis to the Department of various employment programs that promote employment opportunities to Filipinos. First, our special program for employment of students, or SPES, which helps financially challenged but deserving students pursue their education by encouraging employment during vacation, providing income to augment or subsidize their studies. Second, government internship program provide provides young workers, particularly the poor indigent, the opportunity to demonstrate their talents and skills in public. The third is the Job Start program of the DOLE, an integrated youth employment program addressing job skills matching and youth employment challenges through full circle employment facilitation, from career guidance, life skills, and technical training and internship. And last, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, enterprise-based training apprenticeship program, or TVET. For job search assistance, this program provides employment facilitation through job search assistance. First, labor market information, providing timely, reliable, and accurate information to stakeholders. Second, the public employment service, facilitation through the country's public employment service offices, or PESOs. Third, the Career Development Support Program, or CDSP, which equips students, parents, and industry with updated information on the realities of the labor market. Fourth, the Labor and Employment Education Services, or Labor Education for graduating students. And last, the PhilJobNet, the official job site and labor market information portal of the Philippine government administered by DOLE through BLE, providing free job search and application services. On behalf of Director Patrick Patriwerawan, we would like to convey our deepest appreciation to PSA for continuously facilitating the conduct of OWS and PS. As shown in the previous slides, the results of the said survey form part of the department's LMI publication used in policy formulation and decision making. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ankaya. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that ends the presentation on the implications of the survey findings. And now, let's proceed to the open forum. Allow me to introduce our moderators. Before his appointment as the Regional Director of the Philippine Statistics Authority National Capital Region, he served as the Chief Statistical Specialist at the PSA NCR3 for many years. Along with his promising journey from holding various positions in the PSA, he made notable contributions to the agency, such as leading and taking part in all statistical and administrative operations in the region. He also leads the formulation of the 2018-2023 Regional Statistical Development Program and is recognized as the Vice Chair of the Regional Statistics Committee in NCR. A determined and dedicated public servant, he continuously strives for a dynamic mechanism that ensures reliable and responsive statistical services in the region. As a leader, he always ensures the best foot forward in achieving sound and strategic decisions for equitable development for all. In stepping up his career development, he initiated and attended various training and workshops conducted at the local and national levels, such as strategic planning, training on statistical methodologies, and workshops on the civil registration guidelines, among others. He is also a member of the different national and regional line committees. In terms of his scholastic records, he is a graduate of Colegio de San Juan de Letran with a degree in Bachelor of Science in Commerce, major in marketing, and he continued his professional development at the Philippine Christian University and finished a master's degree in business administration. Ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, Regional Director Pasiano B. Dizon. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, Jordan. So before I begin, thank you to our presenters and discussants. Your very informative presentation. Itik-itik po yung ating presentation ng napakaraming data. We will now proceed to our open forum. This is the time for our participants to raise their questions, clarifications, or insights related to the presentations and discussions earlier. Meron po tayong QR code. Nandiyan po sa inyong mga mesa. Pakibaliktad lang po yung table numbers ninyo. Pakita po yung QR code for intervention sheets. Anyone indicating a desire to speak will be acknowledged by the moderator. When called upon to speak, please proceed to the nearest microphone. Meron po tayong dalawa. And please state your name and affiliation before asking your question. You may direct your question to a specific speaker or to the panel in general. So para magkaroon po tayo ng chance for everybody, we will be limiting one question per participant. Also, you may also write your questions on the provided intervention sheets. And yung ating pong secretariat will assist you. Okay, so may I request our presenters, discussants to please occupy the seats at the stage, please. Sino po ba? Okay. Discussants. Okay. So, ayan. Tony Badilla, E.D. Batino, Mr. Kaya online. Of course, ANS, Adrian, and Steve. So we will be limiting the questions, mga dalawang questions lang, unless ayaw nyo pa kumain. First, ask it ready. And then, please write your questions at the intervention sheets para po yung ating secretariat will just will collect and will email you the answers to your questions. Okay, so I will be moderating for your moderate questions. Meron po ba? Sure. Please, sir. Please state your name and your affiliation.
Okay, good morning. I am Dr. Abihuela, the HR Manager of MetroGuard Security Agency Corporation. So my question will be directed to Attorney Grace. Ito po ay tungkol po sa regional wage rate ng ating mga manggagawa. Ngayon po, naobserbahan ko po bilang isang HR manager na yung determination ng regional wage ay magkakaiba bawat probinsya sa magkakaiba bawat LGU. So, case in point, dito po sa Region 4A, Calabarzon. So, Cavite, Rizal, Laguna saka Batangas ay magkakaiba po ng wage rate, daily wage rate. Ngayon po, kami po ay nahihirapan mag-explika sa aming mga guard relievers. Kasi yung halimbawa sa ano na lang po sa Rizal, Cainta, Taytay, Binangonan, Antipolo ay magkakaiba po ng daily wage. Siyempre yung reliever, umiikot po yan eh. Minsan duty siya sa Cainta, Antipolo, Baras, sa Taytay. Ngayon po magkakaiba po yung kanyang ang totality doon sa sa pagdetermine na lang ng SIL yung service incentive leave, magkakaiba po. Tapos yung kanilang daily wage, per cut-off magkakaiba. Bakit po ganito po ang nangyayari? When in fact, kung titingnan mo yung mga mga presyo ng prime commodities, halos pare-pareho naman po. Yun lang po ang aking katanungan po.
Thank you, sir, for the question. No? We acknowledge po the difficulty of having different wage rates po, especially in the Region 4A. Pero kung matatandaan niyo rin po, noong mga nakaraang taon, like 5 years or 10 years na po, mas marami pa po ito. Umabot po ang rate sa 4A ng around 60, then 30. Ngayon, it's down to 6 cents po for the latest wage order. Ang commission po ay may trust for simplification. Hindi po siya mabilis gawain. Pero kung mapapansin po ninyo, progressive po siya na-realize na unti-unti pong nagiging kaunti yung wage rate at nag-simplify po yung wage structure for it. We acknowledge po na napakarami pong division and medyo complicated po talaga ang wage structure for it. But it's going to be simplified po sa mga susunod pang wage rates. Salamat, sir.
Attorney Grace, follow up, with the manifestation of the different groups for the standardized minimum wage rate across all regions. Kasi unang-una, ang hirap ng daytime population, computer-adjusted population ng National Capital Region. At umaga, tagsa, paggabi. So, ang daming data. Although nakikita niyo advantages and disadvantages, ano sabihin niyo, attorney, as to yung standardized?
Actually po yan yung pinaka number 1 na tanong sa amin sa Congress and both houses po. We cannot do with the regionalization because it's still mandated po under the law. And also based din po on statistics, magkakaiba po ang cost of living sa 16 po ng milyon. Kaya hindi pa po mapatay-pantay kung magkaroon. Kung ang pinupunto po niya ay pagkakaroon ng national living.
Yes po. Iba-iba yung cost of living.
Yes, and although cost of living is just one of the profit indicators for in the minimum wage determination process, we still have other 9 indicators that we consider.
Siguro dapat sa government, ganoon din, ano? Kasi isipin mo, nasa NCR ako, ang sahod ko kapareho ng sahod ng ating pang-buting regional directors. Pero ang cost of living sa kanila, ang baba. Kaya yayaman nila ako, napakahirap ko. Di ba? Question? Sige po, last one question, please. Di ba naman, ganun kasi nasa cost of living yan Pero pare-pareho kami sweldo. May question po. Sige.
Hindi po kaya na yung minimum wage per occupation. Actually po sa batas, may nakalagay naman po na per industry. Though wala pong per occupation. Pero yung reality po of implementation will be too difficult. So nagkaroon pa ng trust yung commission that we as much as possible limit it to agriculture, non-agriculture, or yung malalaki pong sector. But the main reason for that is for enforcement purposes.
Okay? So, thank you, Attorney Grace. Oo, parang sa iyo po ang question as to the of course, Edie Samar, Ma'am Grace, Adrian, Ma'am Christine. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you very much. So, lahat po ng questions niyo, please feel free. Doon po sa intervention sheets and then the Secretariat will give it to our discussant or resource speaker for them to email you the answers. So with that, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Okay, that ends our open forum. So thank you very much again to our discussants and to our moderator. At this point, may we invite DNS Grace and ANS Adrian for the awarding of the Certificate of Appreciation to our discussants. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the certificate of appreciation and token of appreciation is awarded to our first discussant, Attorney Grace N. Manaay Badilla of NWPC. Same certificate of appreciation is awarded to Executive Director Jose Maria S. Patino of OSHC. And also same certificate of appreciation will be awarded to our third discussant, Miss Princess Mary Ancaya, who is joining us online. Thank you very much. May we request our two discussants for a group photo, please? Thank you. Next, we would like to award the certificate of appreciation to our moderator, R.D. Pasiano B. Dizon. May we request DNS Grace, ANS Adrian, and RD Nodi to please remain on stage because we will proceed to the awarding of our responding establishments. So the recognition we are about to present is not just an award, it is a symbol of appreciation for their invaluable participation in this endeavor. Through their continued support, we can uphold the integrity of our statistics and strengthen evidence-based decision-making for benefit of all. So without further ado, let us now proceed with a recognition of the outstanding 30 respondents of the 2024 OWS and 2023-2024 ISLE. Our first awardee is FH Commercial Incorporated. May we request a representative from FH Commercial? Our next awardee is STBN Manpower Agency and Allied Services Corporation. Our next awardee, though we don't have representative, we have the Bengar Industrial Corporation, Faith Outdoor Advertising Corporation, Liwayway Marketing Corporation, Santeco Construction, Mega Data Corporation, Goldwing Apparel Incorporated, SBS Philippine Corporation, Century Store Advanced Construction Incorporated. Our next awardee is Anglo Watson's Glass Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, our next awardee is Marulas Industrial Corporation. May we request a representative from Marulas Industrial Corporation? Okay, let's proceed to our next awardee, okay. Our next awardee is Flor Daniel Incorporated Philippines, though we don't have representative, as well as the Synergy Sales International Corporation. Our next awardee is ES Transport Incorporated. Our next awardee is Blue Cavalier Security Agency Incorporated. Our next awardee is RBL Fishing Corporation. Our next awardee, though we don't have representative, we have the Calypso Plastic Center Company. And our next award is the Bonanza Fishing and Marketing Resources Incorporated. Our next awardee is Frabel Corporation. Next, we have Isofirm Construction Corporation. Our next awardee is Ubix Corporation. Our next awardee, though we don't have representative, we have Avisco Marketing Corporation. And next, we have the TeamSpan Asia Incorporated. May we request representative from TeamSpan? Our next awardee, we have PC Canlas Builders Corporation. Our next awardee is Care Channel Social Enterprises Incorporated. Our next awardee is Alliance for Environment and Community Rights Incorporated. Do we have representative from the Alliance for Environment and Community Rights? our last three awardees, we have the Evergreen Textile Printing and Furnishing Incorporated, the Amcor Technology Philippines Incorporated, and the Kabawatan Lee Rosales and Company CPAs. Now let's proceed to our next awardees who will receive a certificate of appreciation. Our first batch of awardees we have, or maybe request representative, Petromine SDN BHD Branch Office. Next, Metro Guard Security Agency Corporation, Nobile Incorporated, and Sutherland Global Services Philippines Incorporated. Again, we have Petromine SDN BHD Branch Office, Metro Guard Security Agency Corporation, Nobile Incorporated, and Sutherland Global Services Philippines Incorporated. Our next batch of awardees, we have Cardinal Santos Medical Center, Aboitiz Equity Ventures Incorporated, Manila Broadcasting Company, and we have Rasa Surveying and Realty Corporation. And our last batch of awardees, we have Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company, Visa Philippines Business Processing, UC38 LLC, SM Store, and Asalus Corporation. Okay, thank you very much, DNS Grace, ANS Adrian, and RD Nodi, and thank you very much to our outstanding respondents. Your cooperation and dedication truly inspire us to continue our mission of delivering relevant and reliable statistics. To formally close today's event, let us all hear from Assistant Secretary Divina Gracia Del Prado, Deputy National Statistician of the PSA Sectoral Statistics Office. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, Jordan. To our discussants, Engineer Jose Maria Batino, the Executive Director of the Occupational Safety Center. We also have Attorney Grace Mana Ay Batilla, our Director of the National Wages and Productivity Commission. And joining us online a while ago was Miss Princess Mary Angkaya, the Labor Employment Officer 2 of the Bureau of Local Employment. Our representatives from the various bureaus and attached agencies of the Department of Labor and Employment, distinguished guests from various government agencies, private sector, international development organizations, and academic institutions, my colleagues from the Philippine Statistics Authority, Assistant National Statistician Adrian Cerezo, our regional directors, hindi ko na kayo isa-isahin, hiwa-hiwalay sila, meron doon. The technical staff from the PSA Central Office and field offices, of course, our respondents of the 2024 OWS and ISLE who have joined us today. To everyone, good afternoon to you all. As we conclude today's Data Dissemination Forum of the 2024 Occupational Wages Survey and the Integrated Survey of Labor and Employment, I wish to convey on behalf of the Philippine Statistics Authority my sincere appreciation to all of you for taking part in the success of this important event for us as data producer and for you as our stakeholders. It is truly fulfilling to witness how productive the Data Dissemination Forum has been. The discussions and insights shared throughout the forum reaffirm the crucial role of labor and employment statistics in guiding policies and programs that improve the conditions of Filipino workers. The results of the 2024 OWS and ISLE, as presented by NSA Chancellor and his team, offer a comprehensive view of our labor market in the formal sector. They provide valuable evidences to inform wage and compensation policies, employment generation efforts, skills development, occupational safety and health, the productivity enhancement programs, which are the key pillars of the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2022. The ISLE also serves as one of the sources of indicators that monitor the Sustainable Development Goal number 8, or this is on decent work and economic growth. The success of this event was made possible with the support of our resource persons whose insights have deepened our understanding of the policy and program implications of the 2024 OWS and ISLE findings, where Director Grace Padilla emphasized the importance of data from OWS and ISLE in minimum wage determination, discussions on trends and practices of productivity, among others. Executive Director Jose Maria Batino stressed the uses of the data from the occupational safety and health practices and occupational injuries and diseases modules of ISLE. Among these are for policy and program development, for advocacies and promotional activities, and for evaluation of the effectiveness of implemented control measures in the workplace. And Ms. Princess Angkaya underscored the importance of the data as input to the labor and employment plan. To all our panelists, thank you for your insights that have enriched our understanding on the importance of this data in shaping policies and programs that improve the lives of Filipino workers and strengthen our nation's productivity and competitiveness. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our sample respondents or sample establishments for the 2024 OWS and ISLE for your cooperation in responding to our surveys. Every piece of information you share is a building block for evidence-based decisions for nation building. We hope for your continued support to our future surveys, not only for the OWS ISLE, but other establishment-based surveys of the Philippine Statistics Authority. I would like also to recognize the dedication and hard work of the PSA personnel who have tirelessly worked to collect, process, validate, and analyze data which we have just disseminated today. To our field personnel led by our regional directors, isa-isa ko na nga sila, RD Newton, RD Akan, RD Pane, RD Sheila, RD Nodi, and we have there RD Wilma. Ba't ka nahiwalay dyan, RD Wilma? RD John, other more RDs are joining us today. Okay, so they lead the field operation. And thank you so much for serving as our frontliners in the data collection activities of our RDs and field office staff. To the technical staff of the central office led by, of course, Ingrid Cerezo and Christine Ariola for the finalization of the results of the survey and for, of course, organizing this data dissemination forum. To all our esteemed guests, thank you for your active participation, which made this forum more meaningful. Let us continue to nurture the partnerships that we have established. To our PSA IT team, nandiyan sila, thank you for ensuring that we have a seamless connection from beginning to end. And of course, to our master of ceremony, Suki. Parang weekly na lang, meron kaming dissemination, nandito rin siya. Walang sawa, Mr. Jordan Arnaiz for the smooth and engaging flow of activities. And RD Nodi reason for the lively and engaging open forum kahit na very short lang yung ating open forum. So once again, thank you everyone and please enjoy your lunch.
Thank you very much, Asa Grace. And some reminders, please do not forget to accomplish your evaluation sheets using the QR codes available at the program of activities or at the back of your name tag. Or if you prefer a printed copy of the form, our secretariat may give them to you. So ladies and gentlemen, friends of PSA and friends in the Philippine Statistical System, and to our online viewers, that concludes our National Data Dissemination Forum on the results of the 2024 OWS and 2023-2024 ISLE. Again, thank you for coming and for your continued support with the PSA undertakings. Don't forget to like and follow our Facebook page, X, and TikTok accounts at PSA.gov.ph and subscribe to our YouTube channel at PSA.gov.ph _. You may rewatch this live stream on our YouTube channel and Spotify account. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jordan Arnaiz. Thank you very much and have a great lunch. And for the photo opportunity, may we request our PSA officials together with our discussants and regional directors to please come on stage for a photo opportunity. Again, may we request our regional directors together with our PSA officials and discussants for a photo walk. Next, may we request representatives from the different national government agencies to please be ready for a photo opportunity together with our Next, we have representatives from the different national government agencies. May we request the discussants to please stay on stage together with our PSA officials and the representative from the different NGAs. We have representative from we have also the the PSA officials or PSA Central and Field Office personnel. May we request our PSA Central Office and Field Office personnel for a photo op.
To the rest of the participants or buffet, I guess, ready na po. You may get your lunch na po sa ating buffet station. And last but not the least, our OWS is for. Then may we request our PSA OWS and SV board.